You wake up when your body is ready. No alarm, no schedule, no place you need to be. For 99% of human history, this wasn't a hypothetical. This was every single morning for roughly 300,000 years. Today, you fight your alarm clock. Your ancestors never had one. So how did they know when to sleep, when to wake, and how much rest was actually enough? Let's start with a number that might surprise you. 8 hours. That's the number doctors tell you to aim for every night. But where did that number come from? Not from ancient humans, it came from modern sleep labs, factory schedules, and electric light. Your ancestors slept differently, and the evidence for that difference is stronger than you might think. In 2015, UCLA sleep researcher Jerome Siegel led a landmark study. He and his team studied 3 modern hunter-gatherer and forager societies: the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Tsimane of Bolivia. None of these groups have electricity. None of them own clocks. If anyone still lives close to how ancient humans once lived, it's them. What Siegel found broke almost every assumption about ancient sleep. These groups didn't sleep more than you do. In fact, they averaged only 6.5 hours a night. No naps to make up the difference. No exhaustion either. Their bodies simply used sleep more efficiently. And here's the detail that surprised researchers most. None of these groups fell asleep at sunset. They stayed awake for hours after dark, often gathered around a fire. So picture it. The sun sinks below the horizon. The sky fades from orange to deep indigo. A small fire crackles in the center of camp. This is not bedtime. This is social time. Conversation, storytelling, laughter, cortisol levels, the hormone linked to alertness, would have still been elevated. Melatonin, the hormone that signals your brain it's time to sleep, hadn't fully kicked in yet. Why does this matter to you? Because it destroys a common myth. Ancient humans were not slaves to sunlight. Firelight let them extend their evenings, just like your phone screen extends yours tonight. The tool is different. The instinct is the same. But there's a deeper layer here, and it comes from a completely different kind of evidence. History, not archaeology. Historian A. Roger Ekirch spent over a decade combing through pre-industrial diaries, court records, and medical texts across Europe. What did he find? Something called segmented sleep. People didn't sleep in one continuous block, they slept in 2. Here's how it worked. You'd go to bed a few hours after dark. This was called first sleep. Then, around midnight, you'd simply wake up. Not from a nightmare, not from noise. Your body just surfaced naturally. People used this waking window to pray, talk quietly with a partner, tend the fire, or just lie still with their thoughts. Then, after an hour or so, they drifted into second sleep until dawn. Does that sound broken to you? It isn't. It's actually closer to your body's natural rhythm than the 8-hour block you're chasing right now. Ekirch found that this 2-part sleep pattern was considered completely normal for most of human history, right up until the widespread use of artificial lighting in the late 1800s pushed it out of existence in just a few decades. Let's reconstruct a night using what both lines of evidence tell us. The sun has set. A small band of early humans sits near a fire. Someone is repairing a tool. Someone else murmurs a story about the hunt that day. Slowly, one by one, they lie down on beds of grass or hide. Not all at once. Sleep staggers naturally through the group. And that staggering matters. Anthropologist Carol Worthman, who has spent decades studying sleep across dozens of traditional societies, calls this the Sentinel Effect. If sleep is staggered, someone is always semi-alert. A predator approaching camp at 2 a.m. is far less dangerous to a group where 3 people are still dozing lightly than to a household where everyone is locked in deep, synchronized unconsciousness behind a locked door. Think about that for a second. Your ancestors weren't just managing personal rest, they were managing group survival. Sleep wasn't private. It was a shared, negotiated resource inside the tribe. Now here's the counterintuitive twist. You might assume ancient life was chaotic, and modern life is orderly. So surely modern sleep is healthier. The opposite may be closer to the truth. Siegel's study found strikingly low rates of insomnia among the Hadza, San, and Tsimane. Not zero, but far lower than industrialized populations. Some researchers estimate that insomnia affects up to a third of adults in modern countries. Among people with no clocks, no artificial light, and no 8-hour rule to fail at, almost nobody complained of trouble sleeping. What changed? Temperature, for one. Siegel's data showed sleep onset in these groups tracked closely with dropping nighttime temperature. Not darkness alone, your ancestors' bodies were tuned to a falling thermometer as much as a fading sky. Compare that to your bedroom tonight, climate controlled to a constant 70 degrees, giving your body one less natural cue that it's time to power down. Light changed everything, too. Chronobiologist Tilro Enneberg has spent years studying what he calls social jet lag, the mismatch between your body's internal clock and the schedule modern life forces on you. Electric light, screens, and rigid work hours push your internal clock later and later, while your alarm still goes off at the same time every morning. Your ancestors never experienced that mismatch. Their internal clock and their daily schedule were the same thing. So what does this mean for you, lying in bed tonight scrolling through one more video before you sleep? It means the anxiety you feel about not sleeping 8 perfect, uninterrupted hours might be misplaced. Waking up at 2 a.m. and lying there for 20 minutes isn't necessarily a disorder. It might be closer to your biological default than the unbroken block you've been told to expect. The pressure to force continuous sleep in a lit, temperature-controlled room, disconnected from fire, temperature drops, or a resting tribe nearby, may be creating more anxiety than the waking itself ever could. None of this means you should throw out your mattress and sleep by a campfire, but it does mean the story you've been told about sleep, that 8 unbroken hours is the only correct way to rest, was never really about biology. It was about clocks, factories, and electric bulbs. Your ancestors didn't need an alarm to know when to close their eyes. Their bodies read the temperature, the firelight, and the rhythms of the people around them. Tonight, when you wake up in the dark, for no clear reason, you're not failing at sleep. You're doing something humans have done for 300,000 years. You wake up when your body is ready. No alarm, no schedule, no failure. That was never the exception. For most of human history, it was simply how the night was built.